All right, I just got back from grocery shopping, and it's so annoying. I can't invert the camera. I want so desperately to invert this camera so that I can show you the soup that exists down here, but instead I'm going to have to kind of do some kind of maneuver. There we go. Here's my dinner, and as soon as I hide all of this lovely aggressive pornography, I will show you my actual screen. Here, I'll invert the camera here as well. Yes, so we're rendering this video, which you've all seen already, but I don't understand how this can take so long. So there really is nothing happening in this video. It's literally, a lot of it is like a static screen. You'd think they could optimize this a little bit better, but my computer's really old. Anyway, my soup is too hot to eat, so while I wait for it to cool, and kind of ambiently stir it maybe with my other hand. How's this going to work? I need one hand to film. We're just going to have to multitask in a crazy way. I want to open this thing because I'm pretty sure that this is Moonwalker 3D, which is a comic book that they made based on Moonwalker, and I couldn't find very many images of the actual, inside of this comic on the internet, so I was forced to buy it, which I now rather regret. It was a kind of birthday present to myself that I bought back when there was a significantly larger sum of money in my bank account. Anyway, I'm really excited that I get to own it, so I guess maybe it was a good decision. I've turned on the overhead light, which makes my room look kind of gross, I think, but yeah, here it is. Jeez, I am so happy to have a physical copy of this match. It truly is one of my very most favorites. I said in the Radical Rewind video that I thought the 9/11 painting that materializes as the Back to the Future poster is one of my favorites and one of the most beautiful, and I agree with that still, of course, but this one I just love. This one is so surreal, and Michael becomes such a perfect Mr. N. Yeah. Can't wait to see what's in here. 1989 Triumph. It's kind of interesting. Blackthorn Incorporated Publishing. 3D, and it really is in 3D. I think that this comes with a pair of glasses. Actually, I think that the original comic came with Moonwalker branded glasses. I would love to get my hands on those. This one doesn't have them. It has some glasses included, but they're I think they're just generic. You have to pay a lot more to get a copy of this with the glasses included. And I remain very poor, and really I just care about the images. Although I would love to have Moonwalker 3D glasses to just wear as like a fashion statement. Maybe someday. Yeah, I guess I bought this from a place called Second Genesis Limited. It's almost too bizarre to even think about. Used good, right? And it says here, fine is the lower end of mid-range comic grading and sometimes considered a reading grade, not a collector grade. So, anyway, I'm very happy to own this, and I actually kind of like ephemera that's distressed. Like, I don't think it's a negative that we've got a little bit of scuffing on there. It makes the thing look rather more punk rock. rather and punk are probably the words that shouldn't ever go together. Anyway, yeah, let's open it. Okay. Sorry. This must be terribly exciting for everyone staring at a big black screen. Okay. What are the 3D glasses? 3D Eclipse-O-Vision. I mean, it's almost makes me want to pull my hair out. For those of you who don't know why I would be sort of sink laughing at this, the eclipse as a union of sun and moon idea, and also specifically here a red left eye and a blue right eye. So it is a kind of conjunction of the blue and the red somehow. I guess these need to be unfolded. I'll deal with that later. Let's just look at what the inside of this actually looks like. Oh wow, yeah, it really is 3D, huh? That is so strange. Every single image is like a red and a blue layer idea. Okay. From Michael Jackson, the hottest star in the galaxy, comes Moonwalker in 3D #1. So they were planning maybe on doing more issues, but I don't remember exactly what the... I'm a little obsessed with this logo. That's quite interesting. This thing was not successful, and I don't think they made very many of them, and maybe there was even some kind of a rights issue or something. I don't remember, but I love this disclaimer that we always get, you know. No similarity between any of the person's names, characters, and or institutions with any living or dead person's name or purely coincidental. Well, yeah, I would take issue with that, in fact. Let's see here. Left lens red, right lens blue. It's so weird. It's it's kind of like telling you to look at the match through like red blue glasses, maybe more conceptually, you know, and understand the color space linkage. So this opens with the scene that we left off. This is literally the scene we left off in the last episode, with these orphans on the these orphans on the top of the building watching Michael tip his hat with this whole shooting star scenario. And then the introduction of Mr. Big and the guns and all this. And so we preserve this nice aspect. We're kind of pointing at Mr. N in front of twin rectangles here on the very first page. I'm just going to flip through here. You know, I'll have to do a detailed look later. I'm also curious to see what this will look like through 3D vision. This is just like the movie. Michael! And now we're gonna bridge into the flashback. So yeah, interesting. Original story by Michael Jackson. So he really adapted from the screenplay. Interesting. Oh, and it says here, Smooth Criminal, Part 1. Yeah, so this would seem to follow the film fairly closely. So this is going to be a little bit kind of spoilers for people who maybe haven't watched Moonwalker. It's an interesting image. So it really is pretty focused on the Mr. Big narrative, which is absolutely the weirdest part of Moonwalker in my view, like in terms of how it might relate to deep ideas about Michael Jackson. 3 dogs here. It's like sort of a Hecate idea. Wow, really pretty cool art. Dogs. Are they cats? I'm not sure. Here's the sequence where Michael transforms into a car. Kind of trying to convey the feeling of the music video here, you know. And that's it, I guess. Don't miss our next issue with the most incredible transformation ever seen. So, we never got to see how this might have developed. This was all that was released. Sports Hall of Shame. Advertisements for other things back here. Street Poet Ray. Various graphic novels and other comics. Operative Scorpio. Cowabunga! It's Turtles on video to go. 2 totally awesome turtle adventures per cassette. Invite your friends. Order pizza. This is like something, I didn't even really realize that they made like 3D comics. Dudical. Okay, and that's, oh my god. Great, we have an advertisement for the Noid. Some are born to greatness. Others are not. Oh, and he's wearing 3D glasses. A blue and a red side. The Noid in 3D. It's an official license process. Wow, they really... This sort of Will Vinton, Michael Jackson link up. They really had some notion, I guess, that there was going to be a kind of big marketing cash-in to do with the Noid and Moonwalker and all this. How funny. Well, so having looked at it again through the 3D glasses, which did have the effect of making me concentrate on the images a little more, because I'm kind of looking at like the cool 3D effects they've worked in. I do think, in fact, there are some matches in this book. So let's just take a quick look at how they're working. So we already talked about this interesting introduction. There's just a handful of pages here that I think work in this way. I think that this whole page here, this whole page as a spread, I think is working as an inverted match. We've discussed Mr. Big's similarity to the North Tower. You really can't see it here. His hair is very weird. We'll see it when we look at the film again. It's a total Mr. N Tower idea. We have his extended finger here, and again he's pointing. See, this links. Pointing at Michael, but it's also pointing at the twin rectangles. Then here on the very next page we have another figure pointing, and he's pointing towards these kind of two... So this is harder to see here because the red and the blue obscures it, but these are really just these like two stumpy tower ideas here. These are, I suppose, are those meant to be the goons firing the guns, but it really starts to look like two buildings. And then, of course, with explosions and so on. And then over here, the child with the funny bear. I do think this is an Atomic Kid idea. I mentioned that in the Moonwalker analysis. And so, yeah, it's an image of sort of buildings exploding, more or less, with twin interesting figures, a Mr. N idea on this side in the upper corner, and then sort of, I guess this is really right in the middle, but these two would form a diagonal as well. So I find that really fairly compelling as a match, particularly because of the way it links into the imagery in the film. Well, let's see. I also thought that this is rather matchy. I think that, you know, again, we're still working with the girl, child, and teddy bear as an Atomic Kid idea. Here we have Michael's hair looking quite a bit like the North Tower wound, I would say. That one really comes together there as a drawing. I mean, it's quite a particular shape. Maybe I'll do something fancy and overlay it in the edit. Yes, and then sort of this material. We have a pillar, Michael, and this child again. And isn't she looking atomic? Almost looks like she's glowing with radiation there. So it is visually linking her into the idea of an explosion in the same panel that we get a very strongly drawn pillar. And just sort of various, sort of the fact that we keep getting this girl and the bear and this guy in the hat with the glasses, like, over and over again. This is mostly what this thing is made out of. Yes, and then also here, this page I find very interesting. Because we do have a clustering of N elements here. Michael with the fedora, this finger becomes the antenna, It's also paired here with Mr. I guess that's Mr. Big. Anyway, someone in dark glasses with a fedora shouting on a megaphone. So this material here all seems N constellated in a cluster. And so that basically is on this side. If we were to kind of draw a diagonal down like this or something. Here we have two figures in shadow. Indicates a twin idea. Here we have, not sure what that is. A lamp. And a pillar with the explosion coming out of the correct side. I find that quite remarkable here in this image. Right here next to this bare child idea again, the two figures in shadow, the constellated Mr. N elements. And then three dogs, kind of where we might want to see them, thinking about the typical position of S elements. And so I think that was about it. I think that's what I had noticed more or less. Perhaps there are other things to notice, but that's what struck me just kind of on the first round. Yeah, I think that's fairly matchy. I'm quite happy to own this, as I said, and also happy to make it some of its content available on the internet. Like I said, I really had a hard time finding any images from this. Yeah, cool.